You ever walk into a bar with a fat sack of gold that you plop down on the counter looking to hire an adventuring party? Who hasn't been there? My name is Dean, VP of Operations at Helpt, and this is Levels of Difficulty. You ever play Dungeons and Dragons? If you haven't, you're probably aware of it. There's popular games out right now like Baldur's Gate that are based on that concept. So, indulge me for a moment. You're a party leader. You sword on back, enter into the tavern. You sit down looking at all the available adventurers to assemble a party to go adventuring. Like a smart adventuring party leader, you look at their character sheets and you look at all of their stats. You go through, you pick the right classes. You need a healer. You need a rogue. Someone's got to pick the locks. You need a paladin to fight for you. You need a ranger who can shoot with their bow. And it might be fun to have some sort of bard along with you as well to keep things merry and spirits up. In every case, you go through, you fill that particular role with the party member that has the best stats. One of the things that's really important, both when you're at the bar selecting your party in D&D, but also when you're hiring, you need to think about the soft factors that go into what makes managing an employee successfully work. I could have the best party assembled with the best stats, but we might not all get along. My character alignment, I'm chaotic good. Yeah, I'm that guy. I'm not that fun to play with. But think about that for a minute. I'm chaotic good. Am I going to get along with someone who's lawful evil or lawful good? Probably not. Even if our stats perfectly complement one another. The fact that we have completely different morals, ethics, values, and the way we interpret situations and respond to them are going to be completely different. And just because as the party leader, I might be really good at managing certain types of personality types, I won't be good at all of them. It's going to lead to conflict, and I'm probably not going to get the best role possible when I try and have our entire group roll for initiative because we stumbled into a situation. Your MSP hiring is a lot like that. Let's talk a little more about that. I figured for dramatic effect, we'd keep the sort of fireside tavern lighting going here. So you'll have to excuse this bizarre orange tint I've cast on myself. I'm an operations guy, not a lighting guy. So as you saw back there in our tavern scene, just selecting the party members that have the best possible stats does not equate to having a successful team. And the same thing goes for hiring in your MSP. All of us who have been in that position to do hiring, we understand the basics. We know how to put out a job rec. We know how to interview a candidate. We know how to ask them questions. We know how to check their tech skills. We're already doing those things. We're already making sure that they pass the skills check. But are we making sure they pass the my ability to manage and get the most out of them check? We might not be. So let's talk a little bit more about that. Not every person is good at everything. Obviously, I mean, that's a pretty straightforward concept. I think it makes sense to everybody. But when it comes to hiring, a lot of us are thrust into the position of being the hiring manager and then the de facto training and actual manager. Well, because who else is going to do it? It's our business. I've got to do it. You might be the owner, you might be an executive, you might be the service manager, but odds are in an MSP, none of you professionally went to school to be trained on how to grow and manage people. It's typically just not a natural thing that most of us do. So you have to take into account that while from an objective standpoint, you might be great at ranking the ability of somebody to perform the skills and duties of the job, are you ranking yourself on your ability to manage another human? So you probably heard of a DISC profile before, DISC. Stands for basically 4 major personality traits: dominance, influence, conscientiousness, and steadiness. And a DISC profile is a series of questions that will give you an idea of what the profile feels is your natural style, but then the methodology you feel you need to act in front of other people, which is your adaptive style. And those two things together usually give you a pretty decent idea of how you process information, interact with other people, and form relationships. And you can use this to also profile your employees to see the same. Incidentally, for what it's worth, if you're hiring for a help desk technician, especially that first line help desk person where customer service is super important, you want to be looking for somebody that has what's known as an IC or an IS profile, where I, influence, is above the line. Somebody who has what's called above the line, that's somebody who's naturally outgoing, charismatic, and generally gets joy out of interacting with other people. You can't really train that, so that's a really important thing to look for when you're looking for those employees. A lot of business owners tend to have more than 2 items above the line in the disc profile. We'll tend to have sometimes as many as 3 above the line, and it's not uncommon for that entrepreneurial visionary sort to have somewhat of a fairly high D, dominance, or D above the line. So us high D people, I'm a high D person myself, we tend to be very outspoken, aggressive, commanding. We tend to take control of things. We're strong-willed and we're forceful. That does not match very well somebody who's got a very even-tempered, accommodating, patient, humble, or peaceful personality, a steadiness personality. A high D manager probably isn't going to get the best results out of a high S employee. That's how disc profiles work. And that's why they're really, really important to help you figure out how well you're going to be able to manage another employee. So you probably noticed from some of these videos, like this one, some of these are a little silly. I'm comparing this to something inherently goofy. Video games, Dungeons and Dragons. I got dressed up in my Wish.com Witcher outfit earlier in this video. Well, that's because it helped. One of our values is fun. That fits our culture here. That's who we are. It's important that you hire on culture. So an additional thing I suggest that you do during your interview process to decrease that level of difficulty and focus on that soft factor, go to your core values. Tie those into how you interview. You can train somebody how to fix a computer. You can train somebody how to answer the phone. You may even be able to train somebody how to juggle. I can't, maybe you can. You're not going to be able to dramatically train or shift someone's value proposition. And making sure that their values align with your values and that they're a natural culture fit, that's really going to decrease the level of difficulty in onboarding and managing that employee. It's really important to proactively align your culture and your desired employee culture from the hiring process. You have to figure out who they are as a person, and you need to interview them looking for the totality of the human, not just how they're going to perform as an IT technician. You need to see how they human. How do they get along in the wider world being themselves? For me, during an interview, a big part of that is, can they hold a conversation? For you, it might be something different, but whatever it is, don't negate that soft factor, because that's going to decrease your level of difficulty once that person joins your team. If you like these videos, if you like seeing me do ridiculous things that my wife will be very embarrassed I did, I would super appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, share our videos around. I really appreciate your time today watching this video, and I hope that you're all able to, from this, to take away a little bit of thought process around how you can just decrease that level of difficulty on the people that you're adding to your adventuring party, so you can just have the best roles, the best adventure imaginable, and just get all the loot, hopefully without dying in the first town.